Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are back. We are back for Never Ever Met Season 2, Episode 8, y'all. And they were calling this Off in La La Land. That's what they're calling it. I guess we can stick with the title. After a hiatus for Memorial Day weekend, we are back. I guess they are calling it La La Land because what? Charlie's still in La La Land. What does she expect? I guess is that what it's supposed to be talking about? So, well, not only is Charlie in La La Land, Brittany is too. I still can't get over how Brittany wants an alpha male. Do y'all see Brittany blending with an alpha male? Even if it ain't Ty, even if Ty ain't an alpha male, do you see her blending with one? They had to remind us that she didn't like that kiss that Ty gave her when he cooked her that lobster dinner with crab legs and fully loaded baked potato. She said, I would rather him let me come to him. What, girl? He alpha male. I thought you wanted the alpha male. So you want an alpha male, but you want the alpha male to always just get it when you want to give it, girl. Brittany. And as we see later on, Jay don't like Brittany. Jay does not like Brittany. But Clay and Tatiana, they definitely gone home. They have gone home. And we good. We down to, are we down to the final four? No, we down to the final five. The final five. And when they asked Cinco, well, what do you think? Who's gonna go home next? Of course, Cinco ranked him and Jay first. He said Jared and Charlie were in second place. I don't know if I agree with that. Alexis and Chris were in third place. Brandon and Kiki were in fourth place. And they said Ty and Brittany, they almost ready to go home. They on the verge of going home. But we did get to say goodbye to Clay and Tatiana last week. They ain't coming back. And there's been a whole lot of after interviews with Clay and Tatiana. Did y'all see all of the Instagram videos by Tatiana? I didn't see them all. I saw a couple of them. But one thing I did see was I saw Clay's mama going off on him in his own comment section. Did y'all see it? Let me see if I can find it. So, after everything started unfolding and Tatiana was going on Instagram and then everybody was posting all this stuff, it made me actually go over and look at Clay's Instagram. If you want to follow him, it's called Clavassier Love. So you can go over there and follow him. And more information has come out about Clay. We find out that Clay he's a lot of things, y'all. We find out that Clay, just according to his Instagram, he's a veteran of the U.S. I don't know, is he in the Army, Navy, Air Force? I don't know what he was, but he's a veteran. Thank you for your service. We know he left due to PTSD. That's what he told us. But Clay is also a real estate investor. He owns rental properties. He's an author. I don't know what he's written, but he's an author. This is what it says on his Instagram. He has a BA and an MBA. So I can probably see why Tatiana was attracted to Clay as on paper, because on paper, he seems to have a lot of things going on. Veteran, real estate investor, author, BA, MBA. But then, I don't know, most people don't put on the Instagram a liar. He a liar. He is a liar. But if y'all remember last week, a couple of weeks, I was telling you that I believe one of Clay's biggest issues is that he tries to please people to be liked. Now, do I believe this comes from him also wanting to be in the movie industry? It probably comes because he already had it, and then it's showing itself up in this sort of genre that he's in now, wanting to be on TV or be in the movies or do commercials or do whatever. And I'm going to stick by that. We've been talking a lot about motivations. People have more than one motivation. And I'm going to say that I still believe that Clay is a person who likes to avoid conflict. And as a result, he lies to avoid conflict, but then that ends up turning into more of a conflict. Because once you lie and you get caught in a lie, Now the conflict is worse than the original conflict. And y'all know me, I typically like to see, how did we get like this? How did we become the people we are? How do we show up in the world the way we show up in the world now? That's a lot of what I do with my one-on-one coaching. As y'all know, I do one-on-one coaching. And a lot of times that's kind of what I'm helping people do, figure out how they got to where they are now. So that way they can figure out how they need to move and shape to go forward into the next area of their life. It's really just not only is discovering who you are, it's discovering on how you got here. Because if you don't really discover how you got to who you are, what can happen is you could either be perpetuating bad habits continually, which means you'll never get to where you are, or you may not know those things you need to tweak to get to where you are. So I think going back is very important. That's why I don't always like to start with the noun in here. Now, long-winded to get to my point about Clavasier, and then we're going to go and start talking about the show, is that in one of Clavasier's comments about the show, and he showed a clip from the show, his mama dropped down in the comments. His mama sure did. And this is what his mama wrote. As your mother, the one who carried your ASS, let me make this clear. That whole situation, talking about when that friend showed up, disrespectful as hell. She was doing the absolute most with 0 Fs given. And that hug, oh no, baby, that wasn't just a hug. That was a slick move, and she knew it. If that had been me, oh, we would have been talking. We wouldn't have even made it to the recap. It'd be a straight fight. No warning, no deep breaths, no be the bigger person. Nah, hands first. Questions never. Dressed for war, not for brunch. So, when I told y'all that what I believed Clay was a person who lied to avoid conflict, and how did he get that way? This right here shows you how he got there. Now, do any mothers out here maybe even disagree with Clay's mama? Probably no. Probably none of us ever disagree with her sentiments. None of us. In fact, we agreed with her about what we thought of that mess. But here's the difference. How do you express that? And where do you express that? This right here, that mama dropping down in Clay's comments and his Instagram, it reminded me of those things you see where a kid is acting up at school and the mama comes up to the school and whoops the kid in the school in front of all the other students. This is what this is reminding me of. And so if you sort of grew up with a mother who doesn't always have the right timing, or doesn't know how to even sometimes even control her own words regarding around correcting her son, what that could force you to become is a person that is willing to lie to their mother because they're afraid of the wrath of their mother. You see, fear works in two ways. A lot of people think fear works to get you to stop doing things, but fear can also get you to still do things, but then just lie about it. And I think that's who we have in Clay. I'm going to stick to what I'm saying, that Clay is a people pleaser. And how he got here, I got it right here in this Instagram response from his mom. That's how he got here. So what Clay will have to do is Clay will have to unwind all his lying ways. He'll have to go back to understanding why he lies in the first place. And maybe as a child, maybe he was doing lying because he was afraid of his mother. But that's a little boy's response. See, this is why we say Clay is immature, because what Clay is doing is Clay is handling situations now here as a 32-year-old as if he was that scared little boy trying to tell his mother the truth because he was scared that his mother would either cuss him out or his mother might even put hands on him. So as a result, he's now dealing with grown women the same way he kind of dealt with his mother, and that is lying to get out of things. When before, what he should do is he should stand on business and have adult conversations. But this is a lot what goes on in all our lives, that oftentimes we are handling adult situations like we did when we were 4 and 5-year-old children. And sometimes when we were 4 or 5-year-old children, we were traumatized. But because we were so young, we could not handle the situation like an adult because we were a child. But now we are an adult. We're an adult now, so we should not be handling situations like we did when we were a young child living at home with our mother and our father. We should be able to have different conversations with our parents, and parents should also be able to have different conversations with their children because they're no longer dealing with a 10-year-old walking up to a school and spanking their kid. They're dealing with a grown man. So it doesn't mean that you can't have the deep conversations, the hard conversations, but there does mean you need to pick and choose when you have them, where you have them, and how you have them. But this gave me enough to know of how Clay got where he is. Gave me enough to know. So when Tatiana was doing all that stuff, screaming and yelling at him, cussing him out, calling him the B word, guess what? Clay was like, I've heard all this before. I've seen it before. It's come from my mother and I'm out. That's what Clay did. So, and what Tatiana wanted Clay to do was, hey, don't give up. Stay in here. She was basically begging him to stay there. He was out. We were saying, wow, Clay sure did flip that on Tatiana real fast and exit stage left real fast when she started cussing him out and treating him bad. Because what he was starting to get was he was starting to get triggered even more. And he says, this feels familiar. This feels real familiar, and I'm out. He ran to avoid conflict. He lied to try to get out of conflict. And once lying didn't get him out of the conflict, the next part is for him to run. I bet he gets off the phone with that mama a lot. I bet he does. The minute she starts hyping up for whatever reason, she may have her reasons. So I don't want to make this even about the mama. It has to do with how people react to things we do. That people got to understand that their behavior elicits a response from people. And that's fine. You could like your behavior. You could like your approach. You could feel justified. But what you got to understand is that people also are going to react to you in different types of ways. So, hey, I got my answer, y'all. I got my answer completely. But anyway, we're going to get into the show. I done talked. That was a long introduction. We're going to get into the show. And when we get back, we're going to talk about the episode. So while I play my introduction video, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to leave comments down below. And we will get into this show. See you in a minute. So we are back to off in La La Land. Tatiana gone home. Cinco done rated the couples 1 through 5. And Cinco and Jay predicting who's going to go next, Ty and Brittany. And we later find out, like I said, Jay don't even like Ty. And Jay is in the kitchen once again cooking. Like I said, last time I was talking about who's the only one cooking. And I'm telling you, of all the people, the only person I ever really see cooking a lot is Jay. I will have to say that. And Jared decides he also wants to be wise counsel in the house. He decides to sit down with Brittany and say, hey, Brittany, you know, Ty's a good guy. He really likes you. He's really trying hard. But for what I see over here versus over there is I see friend vibes. You're not really attracted to Ty all that much. And what I see is friend vibes. And he said, you know, what I can see from Ty is that his love languages are physical touch and acts of service. And what Brittany said was, I don't care about that because that's not my love language. That's not the point, Brittany. The point of knowing someone's love language is so that you can give them love in their love language. You have your own language, is how you receive love. So your partner should be loving you in that love language. But when someone says his love language is acts of service, Brittany says, I don't care about that because that's not mine. I told you, Brittany don't give a darn about no one but herself. I keep pointing out over and over again that Brittany really only cares about herself. And so what Brittany says is, I just need more time because all of his love languages, which are physical touch and acts of service, I'm not doing none of that because they're not mine. I want what I want from this situation. And so if you want me to show up in the way that you want me to, Ty, which is physical touch and acts of service, then I'm gonna need a whole lot more time. She got more time than Ty got to give. She has more time than time has to give. But as the show went on, we started getting prepared for this time when Jared was going to have his little sister come. And he said, wow, I better have this sit down with Charlie and tell Charlie the big old secret that I was the one that wrote on the ticket, will you stay with this person after the show is over? He was the one that wrote down F no. F no, F no, F no. He says, I got to tell her I lied again. I lied about my baby, my 6-month-old baby. And now I got to tell her that I lied one more time. I lied about I was going to stop lying. And then I told another lie. I told another lie. So he's saying, let me sit down and talk to her. Tell her why I lied. And what he said was, I lied to you because I still wanted to sleep with you. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he meant. I basically lied to you because even though I knew I didn't want to be with you long term and your 4 kids, I wasn't going to give up on my dream to sleep with you because I've been waiting to sleep with you for 4.5 years, Charlie. And I'm not going to let your little lie deter me from what I want for myself. He said, I'm going to let it deter me from keeping you long term. But in terms of hitting it and quitting it, nah, we still on track, Charlie. We still on track. And as if I have to keep lying, I'll lie. And then I'm going to tell you one more lie, that my F no is now maybe a maybe. Boy, it ain't a maybe. It ain't a maybe. It's still an F no. But it's only a maybe because you maybe want to sleep with her again. You may want to sleep with her again. He says, I got to think about this, Charlie. I kind of got my stuff together. And do I really want to come around and take care of you and your 4 kids? No, we know you don't. But the problem we got, Jared, is that you don't want to take care of her and her 4 kids, but you want to continue sleeping with her. And what you want to do is you want to continue lying to her so she'll continue to give you what you want. This is what I talk about all the time. I've been talking about the last 2 weeks in all my videos, motivations. You got to know people's motivations. If you really want to sniff out lies, you got to know people's motivations. You got to pay attention to it, because if you just ignore people's motivations, then you're not even really thinking that there could ever be a lie, because you don't understand motivations. You're not even thinking of it's going to be a lie. Just like Charlie, the sister came and she said, well, I don't even know how you expected him not to want to take a pause on the fact that you lied about the 4 kids. And what Charlie said was, this was her argument, I really don't have a problem that he wanted to take a pause on the 4 kids. I got that part because I know I lied to him and I know it could take a moment to get over it. But what I have a problem with is that he lied to me. So what Charlie is attempting to do is she's trying to say that the bigger problem here isn't her 4 kids. The bigger problem is that he lied to me and pretended like he accepted me and his 4 kids. And that's what I'm going to stick with. You really can't stick with that, Charlie, all the way. You can be mad about it, but you also got to understand that the reason why he lied was to get something from you. But why did you lie, Charlie, about your 4 kids? You lied because you wanted to get something from him. You see, this is what I'm talking about, motivations. People are motivated to do certain things because they're getting something out of the deal. Charlie was getting out of the deal with her lies the fact that she could keep Jared on the hook. Jared lied because he was willing to keep Charlie on the hook to get into her pants. They're both liars. They're both schemers. But Charlie is now trying to take the high road and say, well, all that water is under the bridge. That lie is over with. Not really, Charlie, because your 4 kids still exist. Even if I forgive you of the lie, your kids are still here, right? I can forgive you for lying to me about your 4 kids. Okay, but now I got to deal with you got 4 kids. And that could still be the stop. That could still be the no. And so here's what I'm talking about when you live in la la land, because what Charlie believes is just because now we know each other's lies, that should wash everything away. No, Charlie, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't wash everything away, because the reality is you still got 4 kids. And what you should ask yourself, Charlie, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to discernment, people's motivations. What you should ask yourself is, wow, I've been lying to a man for 4.5 years about having 4 kids. I all of a sudden tell him that I got 4.5 kids, and you mean to tell me that within one day he's over it and he wants to now sleep with me? Girl, have you thought about motivations at all, Charlie? Have you thought about what Jared's motivations would be to forgive you so quickly for lying for him for 4.5 kids about your children? No. See, if you don't think about the motivation, then you could be where Charlie is, where Charlie now all of a sudden has painted herself as the victim. She's a victim because Jared took advantage of her and slept with her because he lied and said he was over it, but he wasn't over it. Did he use her? Absolutely, he used her. But what I want to ask is, do any of us have any obligation to use discernment? Do we have to use any higher level of critical thinking? Or can we just live in la la land? And by living in la la land, when la la land falls apart and the big bad wolves show up, because we know big bad wolves are there, can we then just say we are victims? Do we have any obligation not to live in la la land? Do we have any obligation to question things that don't seem right? This is the part that I'm having a problem with Charlie. Charlie, I don't like Jared. I think he's a liar. I think he's a user. But I got a problem with you too, because what you just did in this whole episode was you made this whole thing about the lie that Jared told, and none of it is about the fact that you got 4 kids. Period. Period. So I couldn't just forgive you of the lie. I got to forgive you of the lie and accept your 4 kids. That's a double whammy. So now Charlie feels disrespected and she feels embarrassed. She feels disrespected and embarrassed. But just a little bit of critical thinking, Charlie, just a little bit of waking up, just a little bit of not thinking the streets are paved in gold, and that you're going to be able to get out of a lie as big as having 4 children, just like that. Just like that. That was your thinking? That someone would just overlook it just like that? That's a problem. But you know what? I want to give a little kudos this week to Alexis, because Alexis is showing that she wants to be different, but she wants to be different because of what, y'all? Motivations. Alexis is motivated, y'all. Alexis wants Chris. And here's the problem. I'm not for sure Chris is worth all this effort. I still think Chris is playing games with Alexis. I think there's a lot of things about Alexis Chris doesn't like. And no matter that Alexis is putting in this extra work, I still think it's going to be a no on Chris's part in the end. And what all that's going to do is it's going to drive Alexis back further to where she started, which is this woman who says, what's wrong with me being this strong, tough, dominant woman? Get over it. That's who Alexis really is. Alexis came in here saying, you're not the first person, Chris, who's told me that I'm dominant, I'm possessive, I'm what else? I'm bossy. You're not the first person. And people have told me that before, but I don't feel a need to change. I don't want to change. It's too much work, so you need to get over it. So what Alexis has done her entire life, it seems, is try to find a man who will put up with it. That's really what the journey she's been on now. But now all of a sudden, she's met this Chris fellow who's younger and, I want him. And now she's motivated. She's only motivated to do it to get something that she wants. And what she wants is Chris. When her real motivation should come from, she actually wants to be different. See, The part about Alexis right now is she doesn't really value changing for herself. She's only valuing changing because she actually wants Chris. And that's why it's not going to stick. And that's why even if Chris dumps her in the end, she's going to go right back to who she is. And what I want Alexis to do is I want Alexis to be value being different for her, not for a man. And for Alexis to value that, she needs to go back and figure out how she got to be where she is. I don't want to hear nothing about it's the way I grew up and it's the culture I'm from. Then you need to go back and undo some things about the way you grew up and some of your culture. Everybody shouldn't just take on negative traits of their culture or the way they grew up and say, this is me, accept me as I am. No, everybody has to do work to go back in their life, whether it be family trauma, cultural trauma, whatever it is, and change some of those things. Because if you don't do it, it's going to prevent you from getting to be where you want to be. I commend Alexis for opening the door a bit to do different things. You know, like Chris was all excited about they were going to go do something athletic because he says she don't really work out. Remember, Alexis was the one that got on here and who said she wanted a younger man because old men her age couldn't keep up with her. We're finding that Alexis is not in all that good of a shape. So keeping up with her is not a hard thing to do. We're finding that mostly the reason why Alexis likes younger men is because I think she probably can boss them around a lot more. I think that. And I think she's probably so much more mature than them. She might can run circles around them emotionally. Because those men are easier to control. Okay. Because right now, Alexis doesn't give me a 47-year-old with 30-year-old vibes. So she acts young. No, she acts her age. She absolutely acts her age. But right now, her motivation, although I want to commend her for it, because at least it is a step in a different direction, the steps are being taken for the wrong reason. Her steps are being motivated because she wants to win over Chris in this moment. And really what her motivation should be is because she wants to be a different person, a better person. And after she becomes a different and better person, she probably will attract a better guy, which is great. So there will be fruits of her labor. There will absolutely be fruits of her labor, but I want her labor to be for herself. Because when Chris is gone and he walks away from her, I don't want Alexis to go back to her old ways, her old thinking, which is, this is how I grew up. This is my culture. I'm dominant. I'm controlling. I'm bossy. Get over it. Nah, Alexis. Nah. After they came back from that gym, Chris gave her more kisses than he's given her for the first 7 episodes. And we find out Chris has got his own trauma. He is triggered by Alexis. They trigger each other. Chris needs to go back in his own childhood. He's so busy out here not being controlled and being a lone wolf and being a leopard. Talking about he had his own apartment at 9 years old. 9 years old, he was off doing whatever the hell he wanted to do without anyone telling him what to do because he was sick of his 8 step-parents telling him what to do. He was tired of it. And now any little sign of bossing him around, he's triggered. He is absolutely triggered. He needs to go back too. Same thing. Go back in your childhood, Chris. Unearth it, uncover it. Because now what you're doing is you're responding to women in your adult life like you responded when you were that 9-year-old kid getting your own apartment. That's how you're responding. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want you telling me what to do. I don't want you having any say in my life. So I'm going to go get my own apartment at 9 years old. There you are. Now you a 30-something-year-old man doing the same thing, not being able to understand how to have accountability with a woman, not understanding how to work it out with someone. You like to run. You like to flee. This is why Chris hops around from woman to woman to woman to woman, just like he probably hopped around when he was younger, from apartment to apartment, from living with this person, living with that person. He does not know how to sit down and discuss issues. He gets triggered and he flees and he runs. Go get a therapist. He keeps saying all his friends keep telling him he needs a therapist. You do. You need someone to talk to, Chris, because let me tell you, if we do not go back and figure out where all this gook and junk comes from, we are just going to keep carrying it like a backpack on our backs. no matter where we go, no matter who we're with, no matter what job we go to, no matter what partner we have, it's in our backpack. You need to start unpacking that stuff and leaving it on the side of the road so that you can move forward. Please, please, everybody, learn something from this show. Learn something from this show. But once again, Jay and Single had to play another card game because they love to play a card game. And they played a card game to set up the breakup of Ty and Brittany to go ahead and move forward. I know you did, Jay and Single. I know y'all did because I think you did give them the toughest question of all. And I think it was a setup to get them out the house because, last week I was saying when Brittany was over there tickling on Cinco, I thought Jay handled that situation better than most people would. But now I realized that she felt the same way I did. It was brewing underneath because in the clips going forward, we see Jay call Brittany darn near floozy and a hoe around the house because obviously Jay has been giving a whole lot of men attention besides her man Ty. And so maybe it didn't sit as well with Jay as I thought it did. But when they were playing the game, they said, what type of sex advice would you give? And Jay said more foreplay. She sold that to her man Cinco. And they asked Kiki and Brandon what would make her feel safe. Kiki said touch her. But even though Kiki don't want him to touch her, that was weird. But okay, Kiki. Britt and Ty was about Charlie. Charlie's was Jared said he felt that Charlie was more mature than he was. He's just still trying to get in them panties one last time. And then Brittany and Ty says, do you think we will be good sexual partners? And Brittany, him and hawed. It took a long time. And then eventually what she said yes, even though in her confessional, she knew that the answer was a no. But let me tell you where Brittany, you ain't getting by me, girl. You are not getting by me. Because what Brittany wants to say is the reason why she said yes was to spare Ty's feelings in that moment. And I'm going to call bullshit. What Brittany did was Brittany was sparing her own image in the house. Because I think everybody is starting to realize now in the house that Brittany is the bigger problem. We're not saying Ty ain't got no problem, but everybody in the house is realizing Brittany is the bigger problem, and people have told her this. Jared has told her this. Jay has told her this. People have told her she's the bigger problem. So in this moment, what Brittany decided to do was, do I want to fuel the image of myself that I'm the bigger problem? No, I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie one more time, motivations. I'm going to lie, not for the reason Brittany said to spare Ty. She didn't care about sparing Ty because later on we saw her get up in Ty's face with that finger and cuss him out. She said yes because she was trying to spare her own image. Motivations. And when Ty decided in that moment that he was going to tell the truth, regardless of whether or not it hurt Brittany or not, and he told the truth, then what Brittany tried to make us believe was, looky here. Here I am catering to Ty, and he didn't cater to my feelings. Girl, you weren't catering to his feelings. And even if you, for some reason, were catering to his feelings, it's the first time you would have ever been doing it. Girl, Brittany's not emotionally intelligent. She's not emotionally intelligent, or she thinks she can fool people who are emotionally intelligent. She ain't fooling me. She ain't fooling me one bit, because you know what I understand? I understand motivations. When Ty said, no, we wouldn't have good sexual chemistry, Brittany did what the young girl does. She gets up and gets out of the sandbox. I said it before. Brittany has been this person since she's been a young girl. We saw it in her mother when her mother taught her that she should get everything she wants. And when she doesn't get everything she wants, she can throw a tantrum and act like a child and walk away. And that's what she does. Another person with childlike behavior at 40 years old. If that man tell you no, we don't have good chemistry, why would you get up and walk away? Why wouldn't you be inquisitive and have that open up a dialogue and say, well, what makes you say that? If you were really interested in hearing his thoughts, why wouldn't you ask why? Because you were what you were mad about was that he didn't cover you, he didn't protect you, and he didn't lie just like you lied. He didn't protect your image. That's what you wanted. Once again, you wanted something for yourself. You wanted a drink. You wanted a meal. You wanted protection. You wanted covering. But yet, Brittany doesn't do this for anyone else. And when the person doesn't deliver to her, she gets up and she walks away. Another person, go figure it out. Go back in your childhood. Go figure out where you learned this behavior from, where you can throw tantrums and you could get mad and you can feel entitled to always get what you want, and people will do and say exactly what you want to appease you, to make you happy, to make you comfortable. And then when you get out in the real world and people are like, girl, I ain't catering to you like this. I am not catering to you like this. Now you don't know how to get along in the world. Forget about getting along with a man or a woman. You don't know how to get along in the world. And then she got up in that man's face and you don't like the way I'm talking to you, then get the F on. Get the F on. That's what she said. Get the F on. Walk away. Girl. So we see that not too many people like Brittany. I don't think Jay does. I don't think Cinco does. I don't even think Jared likes Brittany. And so you could see in this moment that this is a setup to get out. I believe Jay and Cinco, they're about to get rid of Brittany and Ty and say, hey, what's the point? What is the point? We need to go ahead and eliminate them so we can get down to the final four. The final four. This was wild, y'all. It was really wild. But let this whole show be a public service announcement. Everybody, go get you a counselor, go get you a therapy, go get you a coach. It doesn't really matter. Get you someone you could talk to, because that's sometimes what people need. Like I said, I do coaching. I'm not a therapist. I'm not no licensed person. I'm not nothing. I ain't got no degrees behind my name. Sometimes people just need someone to talk to work through things. You see what I'm saying? That's sometimes what people need to help them get past these moments that have been holding them back, right? That's all I'm saying. Do the work, people. Do the work. But anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got. I will talk to y'all later. Anyway, bye.